Have you ever found yourself really fascinated by those figures? The ones that seem to pop up across cultures, across time. They show up as, guides, protectors, sometimes even these terrifying forces. They really shape our stories.
Absolutely. They tap into something deep.
Well, today we're taking a deep dive into exactly that, the psychology of angels. And we're drawing on some really fascinating insights from the eternalized.
Yeah, great stuff there.
Our mission, really, is to unpack the huge impact these beings, or maybe just the idea of them, have had on, us, on human consciousness.
Right.
We'll look at the imagery, their roles and different beliefs, and importantly, how they connect to our own inner lives, our personal journeys.
And that's key, isn't it? It's not just about, religion class. The angel concept, it's this archetypal image. It tells us so much about ourselves.
How so?
Well, about how we see good and evil, our search for meaning. It's fundamental. So we're not just asking what angels are, but really digging into why they resonate so much. Why do we need this idea?
Okay, so to get started, let's look at the word itself. Angel, where does that come from? It traces back to the Greek angelos and the Hebrew malach, and both basically mean messenger.
Right, a messenger specifically between the divine, like God, and us, mankind.
And building on that messenger idea, what's really surprising is how differently they're actually depicted.
Oh, totally. Our go-to image is, human-like wings.
Yeah, the classic look.
But if you look at biblical scripture, it's way more varied. Sometimes they just look like ordinary guys, maybe wearing shiny clothes, but easily mistaken for like a stranger. But then you also get these other descriptions totally inhuman. Terrifying figures with wings.
Yeah.
The kind that would make you hit the deck.
Right. Definitely challenges the default.
For sure.
And this whole idea of winged beings, it's not like it started with the Bible. It goes way, way back.
Oh, yeah. Ancient.
Think ancient Egypt, the sun god Horus, winged. Then you've got Greek and Roman art. Loads of winged figures there, like Hypnos, god of sleep, Thanatos, god of death. Wings seem to pop up everywhere. And even in Mesopotamia, they talked about their gods having this brilliant, invisible glamour. They called it malam.
Malam, right. And it caused both fascination and actual terror.
Yeah, apparently it could even cause a physical tingling, what we'd call paresthesia now.
That divine radiance, though, that's such a common thread. As you mentioned Horus, think Ra with the solar, or Mithra in Zoroastrianism with a radiant crown, Helios in Greece. Even Buddha is often depicted with light.
So it's all sort of pointing toward
the halo. Exactly. It's like this universal symbol for divinity that developed over time. You see it with Christ, apostles, saints, and angels, of course. It connects to that primal feeling of encountering something powerful, something luminous.
Okay, so we have this ancient fascination, powerful, often winged, radiant. But how did different cultures their role, especially regarding individuals? Let's start with the Zoroaster, one of the oldest monotheistic faiths, right?
Right, very influential. And it sets up this cosmic battle. Good, Ahura Mazda, versus evil, Ahriman, with good ultimately winning out.
And within that, they had angels.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
A whole system. You had the Amisha Spentas, the beneficent immortals. There may be less like individual beings and more like divine sparks. Personifications of Ahura Mazda's qualities, good mind, righteousness, that kind of
abstract concepts.
Sort of, yeah. And they have spiritual opposites too, the Dyadas.
Yeah.
Then you've got the Fravashi. These are basically guardian angels assigned at birth.
Ah, the personal protector idea.
Exactly. And then the Azatas, literally worthy of worship. These angels are more about protective forces, so it's a really layered.
That's fascinating. Personified virtues, guardians, protectors.
Yeah.
It really speaks to that human need for a moral order and backup. Okay, shifting gears. Ancient, they had a really complex view of the soul.
Super complex. They talked about the Ba, usually shown as a bird with a human head. It symbolized personality, uniqueness, but for them, the Ba was the person, not just a part. The idea of a purely non-physical existence was kind of alien to them.
Interesting. And wasn't there also the Ka?
Yep, the Ka. That was the vital life force, the thing distinguishing living from dead. There's actually this amazing old text, the debate between a man and his soul.
Oh, yeah.
Where the man is tired of life, wants to die, and his Ba basically shows up and tells him, hey, hang on, it's not your time. Gives you a real glimpse into their inner world.
Wow. Okay, and then the Romans, they had
They had the genius. This was a personal spirit, but it wasn't just personal. Places had a genius loci, the spirit of the place. Even objects could have one.
So it was everywhere.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And honoring the right genius was crucial for fertility, protecting your home, family, big life events. It also represented a man's sort of core nature, his vitality, his destiny.
And that's where our modern word genius comes from.
Exactly. It's an echo of that older idea this inherent guiding force or special gift within a person. Pretty cool linguistic link.
It really is. Okay, Greece now, the daemon. And you got to be clear, this isn't a demon like we think of it today, right?
Not at all. That's a later confusion. For the Greeks, having your daemon in good order led to eudaimonia,
which means
good spirit, well-being, fulfillment, living in tune with your inner guide, essentially.
So the daemon was purely good then?
Not necessarily. It could be good, evil, or kind of morally ambiguous. A powerful force within, like nature itself. Plato talks about this in the Symposium. Diotima teaches Socrates that daemons act as interpreters between gods and humans.
And Socrates had his own personal connection.
Famously, he claimed he had this daimonic sign since childhood, an inner voice, and never told him what to do, only warned him against doing things, against mistakes.
Just warnings.
Just warnings. And the really profound part, during his trial, the one where he was condemned to death, his daemon was silent.
So he took that as
a sign that death wasn't bad. He trusted this inner companion so much that its silence convinced him death was okay, maybe even good, just a transition. Imagine that level of inner trust.
That's incredible. And Plato also wrote the myth of
Right, in the Republic.
Mm-hmm.
A soldier dies, sees the afterlife, and comes back to describe it. He talks about the soul being immortal, like energy, and how our choices matter hugely.
How does the daemon fare?
After souls experienced their consequences, suffering, or bliss, they got to choose new lot. Once they chose, they drank from the river of forgetfulness, and then a daemon was assigned to help them fulfill that chosen.
Wow. Which sounds a lot like James Hillman's idea.
Yeah.
Psychologist.
Exactly. Hillman's acorn theory. Just like an oak tree is fully contained in the acorn, he argued each person has a unique destiny, an image present from the start. Our essence comes before our existence.
So the daemon, in Hillman's view,
is that innate guiding principle, sent to help us live out our destiny, reminding us we're spiritual beings having a human go at it.
Yeah.
It connects all these ancient threads beautifully.
Okay, just briefly, any other similar figures worth mentioning?
Sure. In Islam, you have the jinns. They can be good or bad, can take animal form, and they're subject to God's judgment like humans.
And fairies.
Right, Celtic fairy. There's one theory, kind of intriguing, that they were the neutral, the ones who didn't pick sides in the war in heaven. So they ended up stuck on earth, neither heaven nor hell.
Huh. And what about elementals?
Paracelsus, the alchemist. He talked about 4 nature spirits or elementals: gnomes for earth, undines for water, sylphs for air, and salamanders for fire.
So tying this all together, what's the common thread? Angels, daemons, jinns, fairies, elementals?
Despite all the different looks and names, they're all fundamentally archetypal images of the ethereal being. Spirits coexisting with us, maybe in a different level of reality. They're often called subtle bodies, bridging the physical and the non.
Which suggests
that maybe we have subtle bodies too. That we exist on both these material and spiritual levels simultaneously. It really opens things up.
It really does. The idea that we might also exist on these different levels, it changes how you think about yourself. But what about when things go wrong in that spiritual dimension? Let's talk about the origin of evil, looking through this lens of angel. St. Augustine had some thoughts on that.
He did in his City of God. He believed angels were created right at the start when God said, "Let there be light." And for Augustine, the separation of light from darkness on that first day, that actually symbolized the fall of something.
So the potential for falling was there from...
Exactly. He suggested that before humans were even made, the angels faced a kind of test, a choice, using their free will to stay holy or not. Those who failed became fallen.
And this leads to the war in heaven.
Precise. The book of Revelation describes it vividly. Lucifer, bearer of light, ironically, his pride led him to defy God. He convinced, a third of the angels to join him?
Yeah, a significant chunk.
They fight Archangel Michael and the loyal angels. They lose, and boom, cast out. Lucifer becomes the devil, his followers become demons, and you get this cosmic split, heaven, earth, and hell.
Which brings us to the Garden of Eden narrative. Satan, the serpent.
Right. Refusing to bow to humans, who he sees as inferior, he tempts Adam and Eve, not with power exactly, but with knowledge, become as gods by eating the forbidden fruit.
And when they do?
Instant guilt, anxiety. They hide. God confronts them, kicks them out of paradise, and puts cherubim with a flaming sword to guard the way back to the tree of life. The core sin there. Pride, wanting to be more than they were.
It really is a primal story.
Absolutely. And the way it's explained theologically is that God's light fills everything, even hell. Heaven is enjoying that light. But for demons, it burns. It torments them. It's a constant reminder of their rebellion. Hell fundamentally is separation from love.
What's interesting is the idea that angels' damnation is different from human.
Very different. They sinned once, and that was it, eternal damnation. Because of their nature, when they choose, they go all in. No turning back. They had immense knowledge of good and evil, far more than us.
So less room for error, maybe.
Or perhaps, because they were created for specific purposes, defying that purpose was a complete negation of their being. They had no essence outside their God-given role, unlike humans with our broader free will.
There's that quote from Meister Eckhart.
Ah, yes, the mystic. The soul at its highest is formed like God, but an angel gives a closer idea of him. That is all. An angel is an idea of God. They're expressions of God's thought, serving his purposes, delivering messages, fighting spiritual battles, enacting judgment.
So when they rebelled,
their purpose flipped. It became the exact opposite of their creation, described as a perfect act of self-hatred, wanting to hurt themselves. That's seen as a hallmark of the demonic.
And each demon has an Achilles.
Yeah, the idea is that each one carries a vulnerability tied to its original good purpose. A tragic reminder. And this cosmic battle, good versus evil, it just keeps going on, the final trumpet sound.
Okay, let's get into the structure. The celestial hierarchy in Christianity. This framework, largely from Pseudo-Dionysius around the 5th or 6th century, is pretty detailed, isn't it?
Oh yeah, incredibly detailed. He breaks it down into 3 main hierarchies, and each of those has 3 orders or choir. It's all about proximity to God and function.
So the first hierarchy, closest to God.
Exactly. These are the angels serving God most directly. And often, these are the ones depicted in those really frightening, inhuman ways we talked about. The ones that make people need to hear, do not be afraid.
Like the Seraphim.
Top of the list. 6-winged, fiery beings, constantly crying, holy, holy, holy in God's presence. Then the cherubim, often described as winged chimeras, 4 faces, lion, ox, human, eagle, guarding or supporting God's throne.
And the throne, or Ophanim.
Yeah, wheels within wheels, covered in eyes. They represent God's mobility. His fiery chariot is really wild imagery. There's also Metatron, an apocryphal figure, sometimes called God's first angel, standing right beside him, glowing so brightly, some traditions worried it implied 2 authorities in heaven.
And isn't Metatron sometimes said to have been human, Enoch?
That's the tradition, yeah. The human who became an angel. Very intriguing.
Okay, moving down, the second hierarchy.
These are the heavenly rulers. They're like the cosmic managers, making sure God's will gets done throughout the universe. You got the dominions, keeping order and regulating duties for lower angels.
And the virtues.
They're associated with miracles and grace, governing nature, seasons, stars, planets, holding the cosmos together, basically. And the powers are the warrior angels, the front line against evil forces.
Got it. And the third hierarchy, the ones closest.
Right. They're the ones carrying out the orders from the hierarchies above, interacting more directly with the material world and humanity.
So that includes
Principalities. They guide and protect nations, large groups, institutions like the church. Then the archangels.
the famous ones.
The big messengers, yeah, appearing at critical moments. Now, technically, the Bible only names Michael, who is like God, the chief. But other texts add Gabriel, God is my strength, and Raphael, God has healed, from the book of Tobit.
And that led to the popular idea of 7 arcs.
Exactly, pulling from various canonical and non-canonical sources. And finally, you have the common angels, the rank-and-file messengers between realms. This includes our guardian angels.
And Jesus himself mentioned guardians, right, in Matthew.
Yep, explicitly says everyone has one watching over them.
Just some general points Scripture always depicts.
Seems so. Their spirits, created immortal, don't die, and supposedly there are countless numbers of. St. Teresa of Avila even commented on the vast differences she perceived between individual angels. It's not a uniform group.
So back to the why care question. Even if unseen, the idea is they influence. Jung's point about them being collective beings, too.
Yeah, apart from maybe Lucifer and the archangels, they tend to appear as choirs and multitudes, not usually as unique individuals. It's just a different kind of consciousness.
Now, this leads to some more, let's say, unconventional views. Emanuel Swedenborg.
Ah, Swedenborg, yes, quite controversial. Swedish scientist turned mystic in his 50s. He claimed he could visit heaven and hell, chat with angels and demons.
And his big idea was
that every single angel and every single demon actually originated from the human race. They're just humans who've passed on, doing similar things but without a physical body.
Whoa, that's radically different. So how does one become an angel versus a demon?
It's all about love. Those who embrace divine love become angels in heaven. Those who are stuck in self-love and worldly pleasures essentially choose hell, not as punishment, but because hell is where they can keep indulging those desires, just without the fulfillment of love.
So hell is a state of being chosen almost.
In his view, yes. It reminds me of that G.K. Chesterton quote. Angels can fly because they can take themselves lightly. There's a letting go involved in becoming an angel.
And William Blake, the artist and poet, was influenced by Swedenborg.
He was. Blake had angelic visions from childhood. He loved Swedenborg's visions, but criticized his sharp separation of heaven and hell. Blake famously proposed the marriage of heaven and hell.
Arguing that
you need both. Contraries are necessary for progress, for human experience. Can't have good without evil, energy without reason. It's about integrating the opposites.
What about Jung's take on fallen?
Jung saw angels fundamentally as soulless beings, just representing their Lord's thoughts. The fallen ones were exclusively bad. He described their fall, almost psychologically, as a premature invasion of the human world by unconscious content.
Like the Watchers in the Book of Enoch.
Exact. Those angels who crossed the boundary had children with humans, the Nephilim giants causing chaos that led to the flood. Jung connected this fallen angel motive to things like the destructive megalomania of dictators and eruption of unconscious power.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting, cycle. When an angel appears to someone, it's often described as a liminal event. What does that mean?
It means it happens at a threshold between the known and the unknown, conscious and unconscious, the ordinary world and something. It's a crossing point.
And Jung connected this to
what he called the transcendent function. This is the psyche's ability to unite opposites, to create a bridge. The angel, in this sense, acts as a reconciling symbol. It connects our ego, our everyday self, with the deeper self, the individual with the cosmos, the soul with God.
So beyond religion, angels symbolize guidance, hope, protection, these deep archetypes.
Precisely. They tap into those fundamental human needs and experiences.
And it's also possible these encounters are projected from our own mind.
Absolutely. Encounters with angels or demons can definitely represent aspects of our own psyche being projected outward. But, and this is crucial, we shouldn't automatically dismiss them as just psychopathology. It's more complex.
How is so?
Well, think of angels and demons symbolizing the intense positive and negative emotions constantly battling within us. Real emotions, genuine joy or terror or love or hate, they aren't things we just think. They envelop us.
Yeah, they take over sometimes.
Exactly. And after a really intense emotional experience, or what Jung might call an archetypal possession, it can be hard to just slot back into daily life. It shows the power of these inner forces.
So we have this inner battle, a positive our daemon, guardian angel, inner voice, and a negative the tempter, the devil figure.
That's the framework. And Jung was pretty stark about it. He noted that often the good only outweighs the bad by a tiny bit, if at all. And that for people who aren't self-critical, permanent self-deception is the rule.
Ouch.
Yeah. He basically said, the quest for real self-knowledge. That's tough. It's a task for the few.
But people do have experiences where they feel helped, right? By something beyond themselves.
Absolutely. Miraculous rescues, the angel of death, sparing someone, those uncanny hunches that save you from disaster, like slamming on the brakes for no reason just before something awful happens.
So there's this sense of a guiding presence.
Yes. And sometimes it feels like it breaks through with a message, often at really critical moment, turning point, especially during what's called a dark night of the soul, that period of deep spiritual crisis or desolation.
Like in Dante's Divine Comedy, he's lost in a dark wood.
Exactly. Midlife crisis, totally lost. And who shows up? Virgil, the Roman poet. He acts as an angel archetype, a psychopomp, a guide for souls. Yeah. He takes Dante through hell and purgatory. Later, Beatrice guides him to paradise.
The symbolism being
that we all have an invisible guide on our life journey, even when we're in the darkest places.
And this guide might not be a literal being.
It could manifest as a strong intuition, a powerful dream, that inner voice we talked about. And ignoring it, that can lead to feeling empty, uneasy, like something's just wrong, even if life looks good on the surface.
So listening to that inner voice.
It is. Meditation, contemplation, just quiet reflection can help clarify, because the unconscious often knows more than we know.
And the angel's call, this inner prompting, can trigger Kairos.
Yes, Kairos, the opportune, decisive moment for change. Or synchronicity, those meaningful coincidences that feel guided. This archetypal image of the call is often what kicks off individuation.
Jung's term for becoming whole.
Right, the journey towards integrating all parts of yourself, conscious and unconscious, becoming who you truly are, the self.
So there's a double benefit here, psychological and spiritual.
That's one way to see it. Psychologically, it helps bump the unconscious into awareness. Spiritually, it can guide towards theosis, that journey towards union with the divine, however you conceive of that. Even if you're not religious, the quest for self-realization often feels like seeking connection with something larger, a higher power.
We should maybe clarify soul versus spirit.
Good point. Soul is often used to mean our innermost self, our unique essence. Spirit is more about our connection to the transcendent God or the divine. But they're linked. There's that saying, he who knows himself knows God.
Implying that self-neglect is the real tragedy.
Exactly. Ignorance or the neglect of oneself, not doing the soul work to find your purpose. The idea is our guardian angel awaits us engaging with that work to fulfill our destiny.
And the angel's call is like an alarm clock, waking us up from
the deep slumber of unconscious, urging us towards wholeness. But it's not always gentle. Remember, Ryokai, every angel is terrifying. What? Because of its sheer numinous beauty and power. It overwhelms, fascinates, and compels you towards a transformation that can be really painful, but ultimately reshapes your entire existence. Like the Phoenix myth, death and rebirth.
Rilke also had that provocative line, "Don't take my devils away, because my angels may flee too."
Yes, powerful, isn't it? It means we have to acknowledge the conflict within, our shadow side, the devil in order to find real inner peace. You can't just ignore half of your nature, understanding the duality.
Were there actual practices for contacting angels?
Oh, historically, yeah. Neoplatonists like Iambricus had written, inflame thyself with prayer was one instruction, aiming for spiritual status through purity. Even meditatio, just internal dialogue with an invisible being like your angel, was a practice. Fasting, too, as a way to shift focus from material to spiritual.
But there was a dark side, too. Necromancy, demon.
The pursuit of forbidden knowledge, trying to grasp things beyond the humanly possible, carries risk. The myth of Prometheus warns about that it can come at the cost of one's soul.
So how could you tell a good spirit from a bad one?
St. Anthony, the Desert Father, had a great insight. He encountered beings disguised as both angels and devils. His test, simply how he felt after the being left. That inner resonance, that feeling left behind, was his guide. Trust your gut, basically.
Angels also appear in dreams, right, as messengers.
Very common archetype, bringing warnings or insights the conscious mind doesn't have access to. Jacob's ladder is the classic example. Angels going up and down, connecting heaven and earth. It's seen as a God-sent dream, an archetypal dream showing that constant link between us and the divine powers of the unconscious.
What about soul geography? The idea that places have power?
Yeah, ancient belief that certain landscapes were better for communication. Mountaintops for gods, caves or crevices for the And we still feel echoes of that, don't we? Some places feel peaceful, sacred. Others feel unsettling.
That sense that the land itself holds something.
Exactly.
Okay, bringing it back to personal struggle. When you hit rock bottom faced against a wall, that's often when these encounters happen.
Very often. An encounter with the self, you could say. Think of Jacob wrestling that dark angel all night. It's interpreted as him wrestling with himself, with his own shadow, his own struggles.
Yeah.
He's wounded, but he gets a new name, Israel. He who wrestles with God and a blessing. It's about confronting the darkness within to be reborn,
Jung talked about God appearing in a hostile form.
Yes, in the unconscious, the divine power can initially seem like an assailant. He suggested we grow by defending our humanity against that raw, sometimes overwhelming animal nature of the divine power. It links to that biblical phrase. It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. Growth comes through that intense engagement.
So wrapping this section up, integrating this angel archetype helps us find our
essence, our soul, our true vocation. It's like hearing a cosmic call that aligns us with the bigger picture, the anima mundi, the world's soul. Remember that beautiful saying, every blade of grass has an angel that bends over it and whispers, grow, grow. It suggests an inherent purpose guiding everything. And here's a final really powerful thought to consider. Humans, theologically, are made a little lower than the angels, yet paradoxically may be loved more by God. Christianity's core is God becoming human, coming to us.
Unlike angels who were already in heaven.
Right. Angels were created in heaven. They either stayed or got kicked out. Humans are created on earth. And crucially, we have the potential to move up towards heaven or down towards hell. That capacity to fall is actually what makes us capable of salvation.
The Felix culpa, the happy fault.
Exactly. Our imperfection, our struggle, is both our blessing and our curse. It gives us the freedom to truly choose good or evil. In a way, it makes us the protagonists in this ongoing spiritual drama.
Wow. Okay, so after all that, what does this mean for you? Listen.
I think the main takeaway is you're not alone on your journey.
Definitely not.
Whether you connect more with the idea of an external guide, an actual angel, or see it as the deep, complex workings of your own psyche, what we've talked about points to this universal human need, this yearning for guidance, for protection, for transformation. And maybe the deepest truth woven through all these sources is that the salvation of man is through love and in love. Perhaps our purpose, like the angels described as being lost in perpetual contemplation of an infinite glory, is ultimately about finding and embodying that love right here in our messy, beautiful human lives.
Yeah. This deep dive hopefully has given you a kind of shortcut into this incredibly rich world, angels and myth, religion, psychology. Hopefully you can keep some of these ideas with you as you navigate the path.
Maybe consider this final thought. If that saying is true, if every blade of grass has an angel that bends over it and whispers, grow, grow, then what unseen force, what inner voice, what subtle energy might be whispering to your soul right now, urging you towards whatever it is you're meant to become? What's your grow, grow message?